how's it going? Okay, so very quick explanation. What is Collatz Conjecture? It's basically a mathematical kind of like a problem that cannot be solved to date. Nobody can solve it, right? So the conjecture posits that if you repeat two simple arithmetic operations, you will eventually end up transforming every positive integer into number 1. The problem is that it has not yet been proven to be true for all integers. Maybe with some number, the sequence galoops off into infinity. So the problem we have is, you can read a little bit on it, but if you take any number and then repeat two arithmetic operations, it will eventually become 1. So it's just the question is how many sequences will it take to become 1. But the upper limit of the number that you're looking for is infinity, basically, right? So we don't have the processing power to test whether this theory holds true for every single integer available, because we don't know how to test into infinity. We don't have the processing power to do so. Alright, so... But so far, it holds to be true. So why am I bringing this up? Is because... Let's talk about League, right? So League is... Well, let's just remove this for a sec. So eventually, what I'm trying to ask is there a method of play that, if executed perfectly, can yield 100% win rate no matter the circumstances? And so far we can say no is the answer, because players like, we know there are players, legendary players like Faker, Dopa, Agurin, Viper, Rangers like Uli, Tear Blade, Tarzan, pro players, they cannot do it. They cannot guarantee 100% win rate. Now, another reason why I'm saying no, it's not possible, is because hackers cannot do it either. So we're talking about hackers who have perfect positioning, perfect DPS. You can't hit them because they are dodging all of the skill shots. And yet they still cannot do it. So again, think about it. You can go into any game, almost any game, and if you're a hacker in StarCraft, you can beat anyone. You go into first-person shooter, you can beat anyone. But in League, you cannot. And why is that? Because the game design forbids it. Now, we can say, okay, maybe at some point in time, an AI who is playing, like, let's say, Riven perfectly, will be able to do it. But again, we do not possess technology to test something like this. Likewise, you see, like the Collatz Conjecture, it's just, we simply do not have the processing power to test something like this. The reason why I'm bringing up AI is because in StarCraft, for example, we're now developing StarCraft bots to play StarCraft, to see, kind of like in chess, to see if humans can beat them. So far, humans can beat them. But they found certain exploits. Like, for example, you have the workers that are collecting the minerals, and if you click, as soon as the worker collects the mineral, you click return the mineral button on the worker, they move faster to the base for some reason. Unknown reason, right? But if you do it on every single worker on a saturated base, 16 workers, you get 15 extra minerals per minute if you don't do it, as opposed to not doing it. Does that make sense? So the micro required to do that, you're going into 10,000 APM actions per minute. Humans cannot do that, right? So there might be some kind of exploitable hack that only AI with like insane APM can utilize that humans cannot. That will tilt the games into its favor. But again, so far we don't have it. So we can say that no at the moment is the correct, holds true. So the theory, the answer is no. It's true. Holds true so far, because I mean you have Faker can't do it, you have pros can't do it, hackers can't do it. I mean, so it holds true. So, what else I want to talk about? Okay, yeah. Another reason why I know that I can't say it's a fact, because I mean AI could be able to do it, but I'm just saying that at the moment it holds true because we have two theories fundamentally in league, right? You have the get good kids, which are saying, no, the reason why you lose is you. And if you play perfectly, you're gonna win every single game. I know for a fact that it's false because it's very simple. When I play dual Q, for example, my win rate increases. I noticed even back in days, if I play dual Q, my win rate goes up by 20%. If you're dual Qing, getting 70% is not that difficult. Why does that work? Is because you are replacing bad teammates with a good teammate. So as opposed to having 4 variables, you have now only 3, and there is less space to screw up your game. Does that make sense? Another one is if you look at OPGG, for example, you go into flex queue. Right now the season has started, so the statistics are kind of still building up, sample sizes are small. You will see that in ranked games, as the season progresses, having 60% win rate is kind of like very, very high. Most people have something between like 53 to 60. But if you go to ranked flex, you'll see that like 80%, 70, 90% win rates are normal in here. Because, again, you have 5 players pre-selected against 5 players that are doing whatever. Do you know what I mean? So there is less chance that on your side, somebody is going to screw up the game. So we can, from this, we can kind of extract logic that the more you replace teammates with better players, the higher your chances of getting 100% win rate. Right? So we know that your gameplay is not what's causing you to lose the game. It's the variables that are your teammates and what are you playing against. So I was like, okay. Then there's the second theory, which is my theory, which I say, okay, your teammates and who you're playing against impacts the game more than your gameplay. Which is like, okay, so your teammates have to be good, and the enemy champions must not hard counter you. If those 2 conditions are good, assuming you're a good player, you can win every single game. And I know that for a fact to be true because I've done it myself. Right? I mean, you can see that I have multiple accounts, all of them 100% win rate. I can put some more accounts. Well, let me just give you another one sec. So here's another one. So you see, the more you kind of scout your teammates and make sure that they're not going to troll your game, work on your gameplay and pre-select. You don't play into stuff like malfights, for example. The champions that can stop you from carrying the game, you can win every game. So your teammates impact your win rate a lot more than your individual skill. Does that make sense? So what I'm saying is get good kids. Basically, your theory is false. Just fundamentally what I'm trying to say is get good kids. Incorrect, right? There is no, to date, there is no method of play that is executed correctly, can yield 100% win rate no matter the circumstances. To date, this theory holds false. You cannot do it at the moment. Again, just like the Collatz Conjecture, at some point in time, maybe we will develop AI who will play God knows what. There might be some kind of new champion that is like, if you just... Hui is like, what is it, 12 abilities? I mean, this guy is obnoxious with his slows and that damage. I mean, he has ranged AoE as well. So if you maybe land it somehow, I don't know. But I'm saying that there might be a champion at some point in time that will be released in the game and the game stabilizes, that it might be possible to do it. But not at the moment. Alright? I think that's about it. Yeah. So the final one I wanted to say is what actually works. So what actually works is... So pre-selecting... Well, I just copy and paste this. Let me just make this a bit bigger. So pre-selecting teammates. So you look at the teammates using Professor, Mobalytics, whatever, UGG, and you say, okay, are these decent teammates? And plus, make sure you're not counterpicked. So this for sure works. I have done it myself. I can show you the results. It definitely works. Now, the problem with this method, it's very time consuming. We're talking like, it's honestly not worth to do it because like I've been dodging again like 7.5 hours. My upper limit right now is it can be 5 minutes, so you could play your first lobby, which takes every lobby takes 5 minutes. And at some point, it was Sunday, actually, past Sunday, I was dodging for 7.5 hours. So you see, when you go, if you want to win a game, you are facing the reality, like the potentiality that, well, I'm using fancy word, let me just use a simpler word. So the range could be 5 minutes to infinity, technically speaking. You could be, in theory, dodging for infinity number of times. So at the moment, my highest was 7.5 hours. I mean, think about it, right? You come from work, you have 4 hours, right? You can't even play a game. There is potential that you can't even play a game because the lobbies are just so bad that you simply can't play. I'll just show you some players. I mean, just real quick, like let's go like with 5 players, okay? I mean, you cannot play with these guys. You simply cannot. They're gonna run it down. They're gonna cause you to lose the game. Do you see? Like, I mean, 7% win rate over 14 games. This is disgusting stuff. Disgusting. This means that this guy, as the game progresses, he will die before every single important team fight. I guarantee you this, 100%. He's gonna try to split push as Cassiopeia. You know, those weird behaviors that you think to yourself, why is this guy doing this? And he's going to 100% do it. 100%. So he will solely cause you to lose the game. So you cannot go into a game with these guys. You cannot do it because you're just gonna lose the game. Alright? So this is this method. So dodging the Q, it's kind of like the same thing. And also smurfing in lower brackets with good players also works. So if you have like 3 good players and all of them are smurfs, you can play in lower brackets and you can just decimate everyone. So it also works. And that's about it. But honestly, like, a league as a game, to me, have proven to be more of a slot machine than an actual skill game. So I kind of designed a quick version of it. So you see, like, you can just look at your teammates. So this is your professor, and this is the enemy champions, and you can see whether you're gonna win or lose. So in here, you can just, as opposed to playing the game, you can just literally like recycle games extremely quickly, because in League to do this, it's 5 minutes per lobby. So you can kind of just... And you'll see what I mean, like when you play this, most of the games are stumps, because your team is just superior. And you have to remember, the 7% Cassiopeia is going to be on the enemy side. So you're going to be like, if she's top lane, your top lane for sure is going to win, for sure. And you are also a good player, so you're getting fed, top lane is getting fed, the enemy team is being omega tilted because Cassiopeia is just hard feeding, and there's probably another Cassiopeia on the team who's also hard feeding, and then the game is just a stomp. And it just becomes this bot game, basically. So that's what I'm saying, is that it's just much quicker to play this, I suppose. And that's about it. Yeah, so I think that's everything. Alright, so the conclusion is League of Legends Collatz Conjecture, where there is no way to win the game without having good teammates? The answer is true. There is no way to win the game. There is no way to win the game without good teammates. And enemy composition being favorable. You can only get lucky. And that's it, right? So at the moment, maybe AI at some point in time will be able to do it. but humans at the moment cannot. All right, take care. Bye bye.